Hey, what's up gamers? You have TigerChainsaw here. Let me take you back to 2020 and where I was at in my life. In 2020, I really started to collect video games and I really got into the Sega Master System. Now, unfortunately, I really didn't have a lot of physical games for the Master System. I had my childhood collection, but there was a ton of games that I wanted to play that I didn't have, and so I turned to emulation. That's right, I did it. And during this discovery period of Master System games, I discovered Submarine Attack, and without my knowledge, I had played a game that only came out in PAL regions. And after knowing that, I set out a goal for myself to get Submarine Attack physically in my library. And so I went to Ireland a couple years later and I got Submarine Attack physically in my collection. And this game is a lot of fun and it's special to me, and so I wanted to do a full review of Submarine Attack. Now, if this is your first time on my channel, or if you just haven't yet, make sure you hit that sub button because I have so much Master System content on my channel, but I also have tons of game reviews for various consoles that I've already done, and you guys should check those out after this video. Alright, let's jump into our ship, let's head beneath the ocean, and let's play Submarine Attack. In 1990, Sega developed and released Submarine Attack for the Sega Master System, releasing the side-scrolling shooter in Europe and Brazil, but not in Japan or North America. Would Sega dive deep and find success at the bottom of the ocean, or would a sea monster crush their dream? We dive deep into this Submarine Attack review. Starting with the plot, but be warned, spoilers are ahead. While I love the gameplay of Submarine Attack, I don't really know the plot of the game, and that's okay. This is a shoot 'em up. It's not a space shoot 'em up. You're going to be in a sub under the ocean, but the problem with PAL region games is that some of them are not in English in terms of the manual. So I looked up the manual and it is indeed in French, or at least I think it's French. So I'm going to tell you guys what I have gathered in the depths of the internet to tell me what the plot of Submarine Attack is. Now, I will keep this short and sweet. Essentially, you are a captain that kind of protects this sea village, and 4 years ago, the village was attacked by a giant sea monster. You fought it off then, and since then it has disappeared. But recently, a fishing boat has gone missing, and as Captain Mikan, who is now an admiral, you get back into your submarine and investigate the oceans looking for this monster because you believe it's back and you need to protect your village. It's a simple plot, but honestly, that's all I needed because it's a shoot 'em up. So let's jump into the gameplay next. Sega Master System games always amaze me with the beautiful and bright colors that the system can produce. There is an opening scene of a submarine submerging underwater, and it was filled with various hues of blue. When I fired this up and I saw that scene, I just really enjoyed it, and it just made me appreciate the beauty of games back then. Now, speaking of things looking great, the cover art of Submarine Attack is beautiful, and it is a vast contrast to what I grew accustomed to with North American Master System box art. There's a lot of terrible covers out there, but Submarine Attack exemplifies some beautiful artwork. I'm gonna show you guys this. I hope you guys can see this for the most part, but this is not what I was used to with Master System games in North America. This artwork is gorgeous. If I was a kid picking out a Master System game, this would have been one of the first games I picked out simply because the artwork was so captivating. Now let's get into that gameplay. I piloted my sub through 6 different levels during my review. The length of the levels is pretty generous. These aren't short, quick levels, but ones that will take over 2 minutes to beat. With games being so short in the 80s and the early 90s, it was nice to see Submarine Attack have a bit of fat on the levels. Each of these levels has tons of details filled with bright colors. Expect to see colored reefs, helicopters, subs, boats, bubbles, underwater mines, and much more when navigating through the waters. The first boss was pretty simplistic. It was just a structure with 3 guns attached to the base. I was able to dispose of it pretty easy and move on to level 2. Now as a shoot 'em up, you're going to have 2 forms of attack. One is going to be straight ahead in front of the ship. The other is kind of a missile that shoots above you, and it's kind of an arc. This was particularly successful against enemies that were above you or enemies that were just above the surface. I really liked the idea of having a little bit of strategy involved as far as having to pull my ship back and fire up and use the arc to hit enemies above me and above the surface. Once you beat the first level, you'll notice that the speed ramps up. Enemies, bullets, and other objects will swim by you at quicker speeds, but luckily for you, you can collect power-ups including speed, attack power, and health. This isn't a one-hit kill game, and your sub can take a few hits before sinking, but as health comes by, you'll still need to snag it just to ensure victory like I did. While your sub is piloting underwater, there will be plenty happening on the surface. There'll be boats and helicopters above you that will be dropping bombs or shooting at you. Now as mentioned, there are plenty of enemies above the surface, but there's also a lot going on in the environment. One of my favorite things about this game is the level 2 volcano. When you're cruising on by, there is a volcanic eruption sending lava rocks into the ocean that you have to dodge. I thought this was a genius idea of getting the environment involved that is originally in the background that comes down and surprises you as you have to dodge the rocks. These are the types of details that I love in my video games. The boss fights become increasingly difficult as the game progresses, as they should. Stage 2 had a battle fortress with 5 different guns and a weak point. In the next level, my trusty sub went deeper into the ocean and navigated through an underwater cave. Instead of man-made enemies, the foes became sea creatures that looked like fossils, adding to the belief that I was traveling deeper into the ocean. Continuing the theme of mystical enemies, Stage 4 takes place at night against a skeleton mermaid civilization. It reminded me a lot of Atlantis, or a city like that. And at the end of the level, you face a king mermaid that knocks rocks down into the water. The only way of defeating him is to shoot his mouth when it's open. It's easier said than done, as his mouth is only open when the rocks are falling. Again, just the belief that you're going deeper and deeper into the ocean really was a great layer of gameplay. After fighting a mermaid race, you're thrust into the futuristic underwater cavern. The boss at this stage was not messing around, and he was the toughest to defeat during my review. He had tons of guns and turrets that you had to avoid in a small space while finding the weak point. One of the strange things was that at the final level, my sub randomly began to shoot lasers. Now, I'm not complaining, I just didn't remember picking up a power-up. My sub just automatically started to shoot these lasers. Perhaps I had collected so many power-ups that my missiles turned into long lasers, or maybe it happens automatically when you reach the final stage. I don't know, but I was happy about it. Now, the final boss during my playthrough was perhaps the easiest. He was a sea monster that looked like an octopus with his tentacles. A few pops from my laser had him sleeping with the fishes. Although, he probably already did that. Now, like most shoot-em-ups in the 80s and the early 90s, if you died, you were stripped of all of your power-ups and speed. So if you do die, it makes it almost impossible to finish out the level unless you are extremely skilled. So for my review, this had to be a no-death run, which was a lot easier said than done. When I was digging into the Master System library, on a few occasions I saw that Submarine Attack was on a couple of lists for top Master System games, but I never knew about it, and I certainly didn't know about it in North America. It was only when I downloaded a ROM and played it for myself that I fell in love with this game, and then I learned the history about it, and that I discovered that it was never released in North America. And that's a real shame, because this is a really fun shoot 'em up. It has unique atmospheres, balanced difficulty, and challenging bosses that make Submarine Attack a surprise hit in my book for the Master System. The gorgeous graphics match the incredible cover art, which is why I'm giving Submarine Attack an 8.4 out of 10, making this a great game. Whether you are a Master System owner in Europe, Brazil, Japan, or North America, I highly recommend that you get this game in your library. And of course, Master System games are region free, so wherever you live, the cartridge will work. So that was my review of Submarine Attack that was released in 1990 for the Master System. Now I want to hear from you guys, especially you viewers that live in PAL regions. Have you played Submarine Attack? Do you like Submarine Attack? Or if you don't, let me know what you don't like about it. I would love to read your comments, because as an American, I found this game to be a blast and a hidden gem for me. Now, while you're typing away your comments, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel to watch plenty of other Sega Master System content and other game reviews that I have on my channel. In fact, I just completed a review of Black Belt that you should check out next. Happy gaming, thanks for watching, and make sure you play a video game today.